The links for Odysee and BitChute and support my vitally important work. PayPal, Patreon, Coffee. I am bringing red pills to the world. So doing videos about the Epstein-Weinstein stuff in Hollywood is a bit of a challenge because I have to keep myself from Fed posting, even when I start off saying don't Fed post that, because these are bad people and I want bad things to happen to them. I think the prison should have crocodile pits. You put these types in with crocodiles, and if they survive 40 years living with their brethren, well, I guess honestly, I would just leave them there. But it's Eighth Amendment. It's cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, fine. Take their citizenship away. They are globalists. Take the citizenship away, then feed them to the crocs. Remember, if you win, you write the history, and the good guys always win. Epstein and Weinstein were able to act as predators to women and children for so long because, and this is a bit weird, as this video is going to be a bit weird and perhaps not politically correct, America isn't a nation. It's a commercial zone with debt slaves to the rich and powerful who actually run America. Oh, you thought we the people ran America. No, it turns out big tech is about half of America. What I mean by that is, imagine a nation, say we were all Englishmen. We would have that in-group preference, that identity, literally a united blood. If you see a guy acting like a Weinstein in an industry, you would just spread the word to others in the industry that this guy was a predator. People would stop working with him, his business would dry up. You would say, hey, this isn't cricket. It's not how Englishmen behave, is it? Crikey. But you'd say that in an English accent. But in a mixed environment, you can't say that because, well, for example, England isn't for the English anymore. Now it's just a geographic zone open to the world to be exploited as a commercial zone. It'll turn into the shithole they turned America into. No offense, Americans, I guess. America and Western Europe can't deal with Weinstein-Epstein issues of moral turpitude as well as we could have in the past, because they're so mixed up that there's no common thread. And it turns out that Hollywood propaganda was much, much more effective than we thought. I forget who the guy's name who was going after commies in Hollywood, but he didn't go far enough. That should have been an everyday occurrence for the rest of America's existence. There isn't one people anymore. The globalists destroyed that concept. And there isn't a common religion. Again, the globalists and creeping permissive degeneracy destroyed that. It turns out the power of the TV, since they really ramped it up since the 1950s and the 60s, you cannot compete with brainwashing that was coming out of the TV for, solid globalist brainwashing for like 50 years. You can't compete with that. You just have to get rid of the TV. But it's like, well, your neighbor's kids have TVs. It's like you need a neighborhood where no one had TVs, which I totally support. There isn't a constitution. That's just a piece of paper without the people who breathed it to life and the people who want to abide by it. It might as well be written in pencil. America is just a geographic region between Canada and Mexico, controlled by the ultra-wealthy like Epstein and his buddies. America has had an open-door policy for so long that you're never going to see a conservative in office ever again, or at least until after the Civil War, and we take Oregon and Idaho as the last remnant of America. Hashtag no globalists. And I mean, of course, after legal due process, don't swat me, bro. And if you think that there is a conservative in office, please name them. DeSantis passed a law making it illegal to criticize a country that must not be named. That isn't an America First American. Oddly enough, the media ignored it. So did the SPLC and ACLU. Shouldn't they be fighting for our right to say nuke them if we wanted to say that? I mean, disagreeable atomic things, hellfire, should happen to that country. Just the right to say that is what I'm talking about. DeSantis isn't America first. He is the country that used to be Palestine first. Ilhan Omar has bigger balls than anyone in the GOP in that regard. To be fair, so does 1993 Hillary Clinton, and so do a lot of people. The window just keeps flying to the left, and the Republicans just walk slowly to the left after it. Gee, conservatives, what have you conserved? Don't get me started. The American film industry has the Film Actors Guild. What's the point of them if they won't protect actors from Weinstein types? The problem with commercial zone America and Western Europe is that if there's no ethno-tribalism, paganism, or Christian religion, there is nothing. Nothing unites them. As far as the globalists and GOs concerned, you could wipe them out and replace them with Martians, and it wouldn't matter. A citizen is fungible. It's just a debt slave. You'll own nothing. Translation, ultra-wealthy Epstein types will own everything, and they'll rent it to you. And that is the goal of globalism, to cut off the roots of every tribe but theirs. A rootless people are slaves to academia and media brainwashing. They will replace you. Yeah, they've already done it. They're doing it right now, and they're continuing to do it. Demographics is destiny. You may want to take a look at those charts and start extrapolating. It doesn't matter what industry. In a commercial zone country, nobody will take a stand, mostly, because you're fighting for America that maybe 20% still believe in, and you're in a position now where you thought we have got liberty in America. No, if the banks can kick you out for your opinions on politics, if big tech can kick you out, well, if you don't have banking in big tech, you're never going to get a job, you're never going to rent, you can't do anything. All these Bill of Rights, the Constitution is meaningless if you can't zealously prosecute your interests as we the people, free citizen. If the Constitution doesn't apply to big tech and billionaire banks that have intimate contacts and intertwined connections with the Fed, then it's meaningless. And of course, they do have contacts sufficient to find federal protections, constitutional rights protections. So why hasn't anyone worked on that? Gee, that's a good question. America has been turned from a Europa Manifest destiny. It has been subverted by bad people. If you let them control the schools, you're lost. It's just national suicide. You cannot let globalists have access to kids. A nation should have nationalist teachers, but really small homeschool groups and far-right tribal private schools are the way to go. If you had homeschooled groups, well, you wouldn't have a lot of things. You wouldn't have Antifa or BLM, and the country would be much, much further to the right than it is now, which is why this kind of stuff terrifies them. Imagine teaching a bunch of kids how awesome they are because their ancestors built ships, discovered the mathematics of navigation, explored the oceans, and reached for the stars before the globalists started pulling them back to fight the last battle. If you don't teach your tribe that they're cooler than other tribes, then you're going to be wiped out by tribes who believe that they're the best. That's the way it works. There's no other planet. Unless you want to... That's just the law of the jungle. And this is a tricky topic to get past the censors on Google, but it's important. And honestly, every email I get to the account associated with this, I expect it to be a permanent ban. But I'm not monetized anyway, so it's not a big deal. And I would just buy a burner phone and start over from scratch when I get shown the door, which with the regularity with which I say Epstein and Weinstein should be very soon. So Tarantino heard about Weinstein. Credit for him for admitting it. Ron Perlman said he knew Weinstein had attacked women. So Ron Perlman peed on his own hand instead of calling the FBI and the media or just in public, doing something in public. G. Perlman, stunning and brave of you. He also goes in the crocodile pit after the legal process. You can't clean up an industry like Hollywood. Epstein and Weinstein are Hollywood. We are normal people, whatever group we're in. We want these people out and fed to crocodiles as an example to others. Normal people want these people out of the industry and this mortal coil, but that isn't Hollywood. These aren't really fully human. I'm not exactly saying that they're lizard people. They are. But they're not human either. Humans don't diddle kids or struggle snuggle anyone. There is 7-Eleven nationalism, shopping cart tests for civilization, and the Epstein-Weinstein test for whether or not you go live in a crocodile pit. Maybe what should have happened is the victims should have reported the incident to the police, media, and Film Actors Guild. It's an unproven accusation, fair enough, so you can't do much about it because, everyone's deserving of due process, but it goes on a public record. It's a mark on your file, so to speak, that is public. other victims may come forward. It goes on a mark attached to his name. People would learn to be cautious around him. You wouldn't meet him in hotel rooms or go in a car with him. And that's like something you don't do at all. Like if someone closes the door, you go up and open it. After half dozen accusations, people wouldn't bother working with him, and advertisers would drop him. He would just retire. To me, the whole thing is deck chairs on the Titanic, because there's so many bad people attacking America that dealing with Hollywood is such a tiny facet. The real problem is that America is a commercial zone. Someone on Gap said America gets the bad people it deserves. It's more that people build civilization and sit back and expect it to run itself. So these subverter globalist bad people see a nation to exploit. They slither in and start tearing everything down. It was the nation's fault for allowing them in the first place, Frog and the Scorpion. Now, because of social media and whisper networks, that stuff is a little bit less likely to happen, because at least there's an anonymous way to call out these Weinstein types. In 2015, one of the victims went to the media. The media defended Weinstein and attacked the victim. Sort of strange, isn't it? And honestly, if one of these victims was in a car with him, and I was reading the victims' reports, there's a lot of them. This stuff was like, he tried to put my hand on his lap, touch me, that kind of thing. If one of these chicks whipped out a little bottle of pepper spray or mace and blasted him in the car, yes, you're going to get some backsplash in a closed environment. It's a worthy price to pay, because now all of a sudden there's a police report. You go, this crazy bitch pepper sprayed me. Oh, well, we don't know what happened. He's like, you say, oh, he put my hand in his lap, so I pepper sprayed him. There's nobody knows what happened. It's not on the film, but it's a mark on his record. He is going to be very cautious about going in a hotel room or going in a car with somebody. He's going to be, because if it happens one time, you go, oh, okay, maybe she is a crazy bitch. If it happens again, or if other women start coming forward and go, you know what, I wish I pepper sprayed him too, took me to his hotel room, and some of the stuff was, I can't repeat it, but yeah, pepper spraying definitely would be like every day for the rest of his life in prison. Stop right there. Okay, so in the article, Tarantino said he saw Weinstein as a father figure, which he admitted was messed up. But hey, everyone's father is evil. What are you talking about, dude? Because you had a weirdo family doesn't mean that the rest of us did. We're not degenerates. It's you guys that attack women and children. Like, weirdo families for us are, I don't know, parents who want to go camping in Death Valley or something, or just weird. It's like, it's a whole different level of weird. Like, I don't even want to get into it, but it's like, no, we're not diddling kids and women and attacking people. That's you guys. You guys do that. Weird to us is like vegan nudist colony or something. It's just a whole different level. And honestly, like, being exposed to 70s Bush is really a war crime in and of itself. I think we should go back to Shakespearean days, have the men play women and keep the women at home to raise the kids. But that's what I mean by deck chairs. You have these women in all these positions working with Epstein-Weinstein types. They don't know how to recognize predators. They don't know how to deal with predators. They think, oh, we're in a civilized country, aren't we? No, you don't understand Weinstein types. But why are the women there in the first place? They want to get rich and famous. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the problem. Go be a mom. When the kids get older, you can start in local community theater, which nowadays I know sounds sexist, but this audience is literally 98% men. I think I'm safe. In a nation, if I was God, King, Emperor, I would just say put a limit on the amount of wealth you could accrue in Hollywood, or our version of Hollywood after we take over Oregon, Montana, Idaho, and Washington after a legal due process. I don't want anyone in Hollywood worth over X amount of dollars, because they have too much influence, too much power. It's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, a fundamental reformatting. Turning a commercial zone back into a nation, even if we have to consider ideas that we have been brainwashed to think are verboten. Can this go on YouTube? I don't know. It's only a matter of time. Support my coffee, PayPal, Patreon. Go to Odysee, BitChute. Join those channels there, because honestly, you're going to see a lot more. Every day, YouTube loses somebody, and they go. And the thing is, the channels that remain on YouTube are like, I can say this now, it's like 14 minutes in. Like channels like Gary from Nerd Channel, that Nerd Review Comics channel, and like just the most milquetoast normie stuff. And there's the people who listen to this, listen to EVS, Ya Boy, Yellow Flash, Heels versus Babyface, and Clownfish TV, and they're all great channels, but they're keeping things so tightly between the lines. It's like you can hear that they're just not going there. They're not going there. They're not going there. So they're self-censoring. Everything gets smaller and smaller. It's like, okay, well, what's the point? These, like I said, you hear me saying like bad people for a substitution for another word for malicious carbon-based life forms. Because there's the algorithm that picks things up, and like people can report videos, and it's like these people are doing it for a gig and they're making, you know, 6 figures doing it. They're not going to do anything to blow that. So the channels get like, oh gosh, Star Wars is really dumb. I can't believe what Kevin Smith did. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, but I mean, I know why they're doing it. You know why they're doing it too. I know they know what's up. We all know what's up. Because if you cover news, even pop culture fluff news, like you know what's up after a few months. Like you quickly notice things. I'll stop right there.